broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this week. My name is Tanya, and I'm the marketing manager over here at Struxoft Solutions. So just for those of you who are new with us today, our star solution, MWF, or Metalwood Framer, is our Revit-based BIM framing solution that allows users to automate Revit walls, floors, ceilings, and trusses in light gauge steel and also in wood. So today our technician Aparna will be walking users through how to add custom families to MWF panels. She's going to include how to add custom families to the panels, add bearing posts to the panel, add a custom bridging clip, and also how to get custom elements to appear on schedules with accurate lengths and weights. So just before we get going, I'd like to remind everyone that at the end of the webinar, if time permits, we'll be taking a couple of live questions. In order to be selected, please press the raise hand button on the dashboard. Just please also make sure that your mic is working correctly. If you'd prefer, you can also ask questions throughout the webinar in the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. For those questions, we'll make sure to get back to you by email within 24 hours. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to hand off to Aparna now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aparna, and today we're going to try to cover how to add some custom families to our panels and also add some custom bridging clips. And the biggest topic of the evening, or well, afternoon, I guess, is adding these custom elements, getting them to show up on the schedules. All right, so let's get started. This is basically the end result we're aiming for. Those are the little bridging clips we're going to try to add. This is an assembly or a stud pack we're going to try to add with a HSS column. And yeah, let's just get started. So here I have a panel that is pretty much similar to this. The wall type is exactly the same. And all I've done is I've applied a light gauge template to it. Our default out of the box light gauge template. So let's just show you that I've done that right here. So I'll set that template as active and I'll hit close. And as you can see, default settings, no changes, right? So now what I'm going to do is take this default template and customize it to make it my own and add a few custom elements to it, right? So I have a custom end stud family that I want to add. So what I'm going to do is go to miscellaneous and I want to change my end stud to be the custom family. So I'll override the general settings and basically choose print stud column here, and I'll use print stud column there as my end stud. All right. If you wanted to make your typical stud vertical custom family, you could just change that family right here, and you can import that into your model. There's no special parameters you need to fix or anything, but just you need to import it into your project first prior to trying to add it to your template. All right. So once we finish setting that up, we're also going to add a horizontal for this panel. So we'll add a horizontal. There you go. So we are going to add it from the start to the end, and we're going to have it end at E2. We're going to use the C channel family, and then we are going to have it stop at Kings because we have a door here. And I'm probably going to insert a clip for it because we need to see the custom bridging clip, right? So let's say set clip settings. Let's take a quick look at this. Over here, we can now add our clip to the settings, right? But over here, I can't see the clip. So how do I make sure that I can see the clip gets added here, right? For right now, I'm just going to add the BIMSF default clip, and I'll show you how to show your custom clips in the list. So I'm just going to add it to the verticals, repeating stud, cripple, and then I'll add it to the Kings as well. And I'll say hard side to hard side, and I'm going to have it connect to a C stud, which is my horizontal and my column. Okay, so now I've added those settings. I can come back and change the clip a little later and update it. So let's go add that clip to the list. I'm also going to punch holes for everything. And I'll probably do a slot pull for this, and I'll uncheck punch end members because I don't want my end studs to be punched. So now I'm going to add this setting in here. Oh, I want it to be halfway through the panel. So let me just quickly update that setting here and hit close and hit OK. So you can see here that the clips got added, and these are the default clips, but I want to add my custom clips, right? So you can see that our custom stud with the C stud print stamp has been added as our end stud here, and over there you could see the text through the transparency. So let's go add our custom clip. So if I go to families and I will go to our structural connections, I've already added a custom clip. I've brought it into the family, but it's not showing up, or sorry, brought it into the model and it's not showing up. So what we're going to do is right click and we're going to see type properties. All right, so within type properties, I would I'm looking at the description and it doesn't have what I needed to have in order for the software to grab the data. So in here, if you pull the drop down, you should see something called CRC clip. So it'll say CRC CLIP. So we need to put that in the description in order for the software to grab this clip as part of a custom clip that you want to add to the panel, okay? So once you have this description as CRC clip, we'll hit OK. We don't need to save this right now. We'll go to the panel properties again. We'll modify that base clip. We're going to go to horizontals here, hit edit. We're going to click on the horizontal settings that we want to change and then set clip settings. And let me bring that over again. And then I'll click again on the settings that I want to change. And now, as you can see, I can see my family or my custom clip in the list for the families. And I'll hit update. And over here, you can see that the family got updated for the clip. And I'll hit OK here. And before I click anywhere, I will hit update because we need this setting to get updated, right? So again, I'll just click, double check my settings. Give me 1 second. Let me bring the screen over. So double check my settings. So I'll click here to make sure I enable this. And it will show me that, yep, you're using this family and you're using this family here. So we're all good. Everything looks golden. And we'll hit close. And now I will also hit OK here. All right, so now you can see we have our bridging clip applied perfectly. Sometimes it happens that you're using a C channel or a custom family for your horizontal, and that the clips are not showing up because of the way the shape is set up, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the horizontal. For me right now it's working fine, but I'll just show you where to change that setting. So you will hit Edit Family. You will make sure you go to this yellow folder here. And you will make sure this says either a C channel or C profile, okay? Typically, I like to keep it at C profile, and then I will load it into the project because the tool reads it as a C stud. I'll say no, overwrite settings, and it should update the section shape for this member. I think you can see it. Maybe not. Okay. Well, you did update the section shape for this member now. So that's one step. Now let's go and add our stud pack with the HSS. All right. So for the stud packs, they're actually a marker, so they're technically like a post-processing tool. You will add them in. You will add them in after you're done building your whole panel the way you like it to be built, basically. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, sorry, not select anything, actually. I'll go to Marker Manager within MWF. Then I'll click on the Wall tab. And when I click on the Wall tab, I will go to Vertical Framing. And over here, I have HSS1 SP2 created, which was applied to the wall below. But we are going to create something similar, but this is stud pack 1 instead of stud pack 2. All right. So I'm going to select HStud, which is our default, and I will say duplicate. So I'll duplicate it and I'll rename it to be HSS2, and I'll call it SP1. Okay. So that basically means I have a different size of HSS and I'm using a stud pack 1. So I'll double click that setting here. In this, within the HStud pack, basically we have a few options. You can specify the left member, you can specify the right member, you can have multiple middle members if you need to, like you can have 1 or 2, right? So I'm just going to say 1 because we only need 1 HSS in the middle. So we'll just say 1 for this and we'll select our family. So in my case, I'm going to select 6 by 6 by 5/16, or actually let's do a 3/8, why not, right? If you would like to cut back or extend the HSS from the top or bottom, you have that option. Typically, HSSs don't get cut back. They go all the way to the top track and remain there. But if you do need to do that, you have that option. And over here in the left member, we're going to put our typical column that we have. So I'm going to say I want to place one of this member, but I don't want it to repeat. So I'll set the repeating to 0. And over here in member clearance and cutbacks, or sorry, member cutbacks and extensions, I'm going to put -6 because I want the stud to be from the top dropped down by 6 inches, and from the bottom I want it to be pushed up or cut back by 6 inches, right? So same thing over here. I will do that for the column on the right. I do not want it to be repeating. I want it to be single, and I will say -6 inches. And I'll go here and I'll say -6 inches. And I'll set that assembly here. If you needed this to be a different type, maybe you want to assign a hold down to this automatically in the panel properties, you want to call this something else. Like maybe you don't want the clip to be attached to the studs here. You can maybe have this member be a different type of member. So you don't need it to be a stud vertical. Maybe you want it to be, let's see. You want it to maybe be a kicker, or you can literally have it be anything else. So I'm just going to leave it as stud vertical. But you have the option to change that for each of these studs here. You also have the option to stamp for dimensioning if you needed to. Or if you wanted to flip or rotate them, if this is a typical stud, you have those options as well. And that's it. So we have set up our stud pack. We're going to hit OK. Sorry, I also forgot to mention, you could also set it up as a subassembly, and then it will be tagged as a subassembly in your project. For me right now, I'm going to do none, and I will hit OK. And I will hit OK. So now if I want to add it to the panel, how am I supposed to do that, right? So here within markers, we have this option called extra verticals. So we're going to go to extra verticals, and we're going to go to HSS2 SP1. It shows up on the list here. And we'll hit OK, and we'll say we want to add it to this panel. And now I can select wherever I want to locate it. So I will maybe locate it here for now. I'll hit escape, and I can keep clicking if I want multiples of them in the same panel. I can keep clicking and go along. But this clicking was not very accurate, right? Maybe I needed it to be a specific distance away from the end of the panel. So I can even do a dimension from here, maybe to the end of the panel, and say, well, maybe I want it to be exactly 2 feet. Okay, I know that's being picky, but sometimes that's the dimensions you get, and you want the HSS to be correctly located. So I'm just going to regenerate this panel, and you'll see that the HSS will get aligned to the center over here. There we go. So now the HSS is aligned, and you now have a step pack. And you can keep adding more to this panel if you like. You can dimension them, you can equidistance them, or if they are every 4 feet, you can use this setting as well. Okay, so now let's go and talk about how to get their cut lengths and everything to show up perfectly on our schedules. Actually, before that, let's add a hold down and an anchor rod. So here I have a custom anchor rod. So most of us might actually have tried this out, but if I click, let's click on this panel and go to the tools, and I want to add or edit panel anchors. So it went to the other screen here. I'm going to enable the anchors, and I want to see if my custom family shows up. It doesn't, right? So how do I make sure my custom anchor bolt family shows up in this list? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit cancel here. And over here, this is my custom anchor bolt family. You notice how this one says anchor bolt _ generic. I need this to have anchor bolt in the beginning of the family name, and in order for me to add it in. So what I'm going to do is right click, and I'm going to rename this, and I'll type it in exactly word for word, ANCHOR, B capital OLT. Okay, no spaces. So now that I have done that with this anchor bolt family, I can go here, and I can go to MWF, and I can add, tools, and I can add or edit panel anchors. There you go. And if I enable this, I can put in a whole series for it. So I'm going to put in a round whole series for it. And then I can choose the anchor bolt that I want, and I can choose the type that I want. And I can determine where to place the anchor bolt. So I'm going to just say max spacing is 2, maybe make the max spacing 2 feet is pretty decent. 2 feet is good. Minimum spacing is 1 foot. And that's it. I'll just hit OK. And it will load for a quick second. All right, so let's see what happens here. It's the same situation for a hold down. If you were to add a custom hold down to your project, like here I have the Simpson strong tie hold down that I want to add to my panel. What I can do, if I try to add it, it will not show up on the list, because if you notice here, all of them have to have hold down - Simpson strong tie. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to rename it in the front here and call it HOLDOWN hyphen. I'm just going to call it 1 because I think I have something similar there in the project. So there you go. This is my custom hold down that I've added. I am going to go to 3D so I can show you. Oops. Let me just go here and go to my properties. Actually, not properties. I want to actually add it over here. Let's go here. Let's go to tools, and let's click on add hold down to member. So we're going to add the hold down to the member. We are going to enable them. And then we're going to say, okay, we want the 3-inch hold series. We are going to use the hold down -1 Simpson. And we can pick which hold down we want to use. So I'm just going to use the HGU 11. We can enable bottom anchors. If you have a custom one, you can select that one. I'm just going to go with the default and I'll hit OK. It takes a little bit to load. If you're doing this for the first time, or if you're drawing hold downs for the first time in your project, it will take a little longer just because it's loading in all these families. And that way they're available for you to use while you're building your project. And there you go. Loading. All right, so it placed it at the start and end because I selected both as the option for, I'll just rotate this so you can see. It selected both. I selected both as the option for the hold down, but if you selected just start or just end, it would specify, it would place it in that location. To figure out if you're placing it on the start or the end, if you need to place it on this side of the stud, click on this end stud here and see if it says E1 or E2. If it says E2, that means you're placing it at the end side. But if it says E1, then you're placing it on the side, start side, okay? So if I wanted the hold down only on the left side here, then I would have placed it on the start side. All right, and that seems to be good. Seems to be an issue with our anchor bolt family. So we could definitely go and play around with our anchor rods, but we basically need to make sure that we have it, we have our reference plane set up properly, and the family is working when we place it manually in our project. So over here, we have to specify certain things like for this is the clash detection cylinder. That's the custom family I selected. But we probably need an offset dimension here, and we basically need to fix the family in order for it to work properly with MWF. Right now, I'm not gonna get into that. That's probably for another session. And if you needed to place that same anchor rod up above, we will need to have it mirrored and set as top and bottom visibility settings. All right. So now let's create a shop drawing for this panel. Go to, no, why did it go to properties? Hit OK. Let's go to shop drawings. And we're going to use the shop drawing settings that I've already created. Give it a second. Hopefully it gets done really much faster. So these shop drawing settings are currently copying an existing schedule. So I'm using an existing Revit schedule that I am using as a base for all my shop drawings to basically use as a template so that they can grab the formatting and parameters from that specific Revit schedule. Okay, so it seems like it's done. I'm going to go to there you go. And I am going to go to panel 531, framing shop. And within this, whoa, what happened here? This is what I meant when you have to set up your anchor rods properly. So it placed the anchor rods, they're just really, really, really far away from the panel. So the option would be for you to move these anchor rods. They are currently being placed, they're currently being placed at the origin of the project. So if I was to edit work plane and I was, okay, should let me edit the work plane for this. Let's try something again. So I'm going to move and I'm gonna see if it lets me take it back to the panel instead of being in Timbuktu. There you go. All right, so it's going, no, it's not going back to the panel. What's up with you? Move and disjoin and constrain. Come on. Okay, these anchor rods are not really being my friends today. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to place our default anchor rods in the panel and recreate the shop quickly. But this is what ends up happening if we bring a anchor rod family into the project or get it from a manufacturer and we don't modify it. So we just need to make sure we set the family up properly. So for right now, let's quickly change the settings that I already have in this panel so that my shop drawing looks better. So we're going to go, oh, sorry, let me bring that screen over. We are going to select all of these. We're going to hit clear and we're going to just say, bring in the generic anchor rod and we'll hit OK. And then it's going to regenerate the panel for us again. The other way you can add in a custom anchor bolts family would be to basically copy it into an existing anchor bolt family. What is going on here? These guys today are, it's just not my day for anchor bolts. It's okay. We will deal with anchor rods another way. So I'm going to literally go to the panel properties I'm going to go to tools and I am going to go to edit panel anchor rods and I'm going to delete them and clear them out. That seems good. I just cleared all of these out. I'm going to just say add member interval and, or yeah, let's do add offsets and we're going to just type in a few offsets. So I want it to be placed at 1 foot. Add, and then I'm going to place another few at 3 feet, add 5 feet, add, and so on and so forth. So there's a way you can customize these as well and hit OK. And it should regenerate your panel. And notice that all these changes we've made, even though the panel's been regenerating so many times, your custom families are still there. There's no changes to them. They're remaining basically. So the issue with offsets is if you specify an offset that's in the middle of a door, well, this is what's going to happen because at offset just places the element even, but just because it's still in the panel, right? So it places the element either way. So for right now, I'm just gonna hit delete so it doesn't show up in my schedule, but we'll go and print our shops now for this updated panel. I'm hoping those rogue anchor bolts or anchor rods are not going to cause problems for a shop drawing process as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them up in the chat below, or even in the questions dialog box, or I guess chat box. All right. As this loads, now let's go take a look at our shop drawing. Yeah, I knew the rogue anchor rods. I'm just going to do this, deactivate, and bring this guy down so you guys can see what it looks like over here. Okay, so basically we have our panel and we have all of our dimensions the way we like them, and we have a few tags being created for this panel. Sometimes on the list you might not see the HSS because like the reported length parameter might not be applied properly, or something within your family settings is not letting the HSS show itself on the schedule. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and hit edit family for the HSS. And we're always going to double check if this says reported length. Even if it says reported length, it could just be a family parameter that says reported length. So let's go double check how this is set up. Currently it is showing up properly, but just for our sanity. So we're gonna click on this and we're gonna make sure that it says shared parameter, and we're going to ensure that we select the one that is coming from this shared parameter file. If you don't know where the shared parameter file is located, you can hit this edit button right here. We're going to go to browse. On the left bar here, you will have the option for MWF products. And then what you could do is, MWF Pro Suite in my case. And then what you will do is you'll select MWF params over here. If it takes you to this screen here, you can just double click families and it will bring you to MWF params. So now we'll select that MWF params. We'll hit OK because this is just a preview for the list. And now we'll actually select the parameter. So we'll go here. We'll go to reported length. We'll make sure that's the parameter we're selecting. And we'll make sure that the reported length is always an instance parameter and it's a reporting parameter. So what this means is that whatever the actual length of the geometry is what this will report. So we have to make sure that's how that one is set up. And then same thing for the weight, okay? We want to edit that parameter and make sure it says shared parameter. Select in the same location where the other one was located. We want to use the weight parameter here and hit OK. And this one will be set as a type parameter because we want this, the weight is the same for that specific type, right? So we will always want it to be a type parameter and we'll hit OK. And now this is all complete and fixed up the way we like. We can go back and load it into the project. So do you want to save changes? You can. I'm going to just say no. I always like to load it in, see if the change is applied properly, and then save the family on my own. Over here, sometimes you might have added a C channel, and that might not be showing up in the list either. I'm just checking. that one shows up. So my custom family as well, I made sure that my reported link parameter is set up and grabbing the data from the actual shared parameter file that MWF gives us so that it shows up on the list properly. But you can see that our HSS weight is 0, right? I don't want it to be 0. I want it to be populated with a value. So in order for us to do that, we just have to click on that HSS. We have to hit edit type. And where it says weight here, that weight field is empty. So the schedule can't really read a data that does not exist, right? So we're going to just put 26 pound force per foot. I'm not really sure if that's the correct value for a 6 by 6 by 3/8, but I'm just guesstimating it, okay? So that's the value there. And now you can see that if I deactivate the view, in the weight field, you have your 26 pound per foot. And then you also have your total weight here. So it actually just takes this and multiplies it by the length, and it will give you your total weight for that. That's kind of it for this webinar. Does anyone have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Aparna. So as she just mentioned, I'd like to open the floor to you guys if you have any questions. So if you'd like to pose a question live, please raise your hand now by clicking on the hand icon in the control panel. Just please also make sure that your audio is working correctly. And just while we wait for any potential questions to come through, just want to remind everyone that the recording of the presentation will be sent through tomorrow. As always, please feel free to share the recording with any colleagues. You can also find the recording a little later today on our social media channels if you'd like to look at it right away. If you'd like to set up a one-on-one demonstration as well, or if you have any follow-up questions after we have closed the session, we highly encourage you to reach out to our team. Our contact details will be provided along with the recording in tomorrow's mailer. All right, I'll just give it a couple seconds to see if anyone raises their hand. So it looks like we have a question. Just give me 1 second. Oh, not so much a question, but a comment. Mike Parna likes the discussion on families and wants to know if we can have another webinar specifically on this. I will answer that for Parna. Definitely, that's something that we can do. We have maybe it'll be Aparna's next webinar, actually.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sorry, so you're asking for specifically on how to build families, or is it more towards, hey, I added an anchor bolt or I got an anchor bolt from a manufacturer, how do I fix it so that it works with MWF? Sort of family question.
I'm not too sure. It doesn't include it on the questions, but what we'll do is we'll get in touch with you, Mike, after the session is closed, and we'll just get your feedback and let you know what we can do as well.
Okay. I think he mentioned it's more towards modifying manufacturer families. Yep. Okay, we can definitely do that as a session next time.
Perfect. I'll just give it another couple of seconds in case there's any other questions or comments. All right, well, that seems like that's a wrap for today. So if there are any follow-up questions, like I mentioned previously, please feel free to email us. Our contact details will be provided along with the recording tomorrow. And we'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible by email within 24 hours. All right, that's it for us. We'll now be ending the webinar. I just want to say a big thank you to Aparna and also thank you to everyone who registered and also attended. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.